What's up, people? Welcome back to the Off the Cuff podcast. Who would have thought, eh? 2 episodes. Episodes 2. Is there a 3? You might have to wait and find out. I'm here with my guest, Joe.
Thank you for having me on.
No worries. We've been kind of umming and ahhing about how we're going to do this first podcast, and we kind of Joe said very, very rightly so as well. We've been a little bit we've been mourning. We've been negative. I guess because we've had rough years, and I think it's very, very important to talk about those because it's important for you guys to know that we ain't superheroes over here. We feel as well. So we kind of wanted to flip the honest side, have a little bit of a happy podcast. So we said we'd start with some gratitude.
Yes.
So I'd love to hear, Joe, what are you grateful for today?
Let's do 3 as well, because I think you get warmed up, and then so we can back and forth.
You're a gratitude practitioner. You do this a lot, right?
I am. Although actually, it just dawned on me as I got here. I've not done my journal this morning, so I'll do it this afternoon. But today, I'm grateful for the exercise that I've been able to do this morning that had me at threshold. So I did
What does that mean?
170 BPM. I was dying, but I'm grateful for my mindset, because after 1, I was like, do I need to do 10 of these? And then when I got to 5, I was like, do I need to do 10 of these? And then I got to 6, and I'm like, well, you kind of fall away, so keep going. And I think that's a mindset that I don't know if everyone has. There's no one there. There's no one watching me.
Yeah.
There's a cleaner in there.
He was watching you.
He was watching me, and it felt like shit in a minute. But now I'm so grateful that I did it.
Yeah.
So that's number 1 for me today. What are you grateful for this morning?
I think you can be grateful for the little things. So I'm grateful for this coffee right now. I think this is it's wetting my mouth. It's coursing my veins full of caffeine. I can start to feel the synapses connect. I'm starting to think this is going to be a good conversation. So
Let's go.
I'm grateful for the small things.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Number 2, I am grateful to be in another part of the world entirely, 7 hours from home, but not feel too disconnected from home.
Nice.
There's a lot of people here that, naturally, because a lot of people have emigrated here in our circle or our industry, that I feel connected with and not alone, which is nice. Obviously, just being here with one of my best mates on a Sunday morning, random Sunday morning in the Middle East.
That's it.
And Loki here, I've obviously spent a lot of time with over the last few years as well, and got a wicked relationship with. That is just the perfect example of how you can come all the way over here and find people that you connect with. So I'm grateful for that.
I think I could piggyback off that. I'm grateful to be into my 3rd month here now and kind of still waking up. I think maybe Loki's the same as well. You kind of wake up every now and again, you go, oh, I'm not in my bed at home. I'm not in the bed that I've slept in for the last however many years, whether that be childhood home, whether that be the last place that we rented. I still wake up and go, damn, I'm in Dubai. This is cool. What have you done in your life to deserve this? What have you done in your life to work for this? And that in itself, while I don't actively practice gratitude, I'm like, I can feel the grateful wave come over me sometimes. When I look out that window, I think, damn, you're in Dubai and you're paying for it. You've done something here. So I get that quite often.
Yeah, I totally feel that. Even as I say, I've been here quite a short time, and I feel that already. I think as time goes on, I think especially as life begins to bed in a bit more, I'll be
for sure.
That will really hit.
Yeah.
When we've got a permanent home, and that's where I come home to, and that's the home that I build. So, 3rd thing I'm grateful will be, as I say, I've just told you off air, I've just put a deposit down on a place to rent for the next year. So I am grateful to have a base confirmed. That would be nice, and to be settled. And kind of point 3B is obviously when I come back, I'll be coming back with my partner, currently fiance. I can say it on the podcast.
Yeah, you can. I was going to say, you going to say it? Is he going to say it?
Yeah, she'll be my wife.
Jeez.
So we'll be getting married when I get back. So just something small. We'll have a big wedding party, probably next year. But yeah, we're coming back with my wife, which will be amazing, and it'll be the first time we've lived together, because obviously she's Turkish of Muslim descent. So in order for us to really get on with our lives in the eyes of her culture and her family, we need to be married. So that's part of the reason why we're doing it. But it'd be nice for us to just build a home together. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for it's not come yet, but I'm grateful to be excited for life, because I think that's a nice feeling. I
feel like it's going to be a whole life.
Whole life, man. Whole
all the pieces of the puzzle are there.
Yeah, That's my number 3. What's yours?
I think my number 3 is I'm grateful for the future. I'm grateful for what's to come. I'm grateful for what's on the horizon, which me and him talk about all the time. Like, we're going to Canada, which we fell in love with last year. The people, the environment, the place, the walks, the everything there. We really, really love it, and grateful to know that's all booked. We've booked flights, we've booked the Airbnb. Everything is set in stone, and we're going to do that. But also, what follows that is, the first classic prep. So I'm very, very grateful to be doing this same thing. I'd say probably 5 years later on, like when I started this, maybe 6 years now. Like, I'm still able to do whatever I want pretty much every day towards that goal, and still earn money. I think that I'm very, very grateful for that and what's to come.
That's the dream.
It is a dream, and I think sometimes we forget that. I think when in the morning, in the gloom, in the doom that we go through, it's very easy to forget that, and that's one thing that I'm probably hold my hands up for. It's like, it's and people say, it's relative, and it is relative, but also try and use some of that relativity to remember what other people are going through. And I think for me, I lose touch of that sometimes. And actually, what you said literally just before this podcast, you're like, it could be worse though, couldn't it? I'm like, you're right, and that should be a little bit of a mantra in the forefront of the head of it sometimes. Could be worse though, couldn't it?
Could be worth getting that journal out, man. Just writing three little things a day.
I know.
3 little things a day.
I did download an app once, actually. When I first got here, I did it for about a week. I just found myself writing shit things.
That's the thing. It is something that you, like, I've had that experience with before, and that's when I've dropped off with it. Because I realised I'm just writing, like, I feel like I'm writing for the sake of it.
That's how I felt.
It feels forced.
I had an alarm go off as well.
Time. Yeah, that's exactly it. I viewed it as a chore. I viewed it as something that pushed me back in the rest of my day, which is the totally wrong way to look at it. It should be, an experience that you look forward to. And I think firstly, it is a skill. That's number one. Like, it isn't just, you're not going to be great at it. You're not going to be some incredibly deep, grateful person immediately. But you will start with things like, I'm grateful for this coffee. And you are grateful for that. But that probably doesn't evoke that much emotion in you. Whereas you actually start thinking, like, really deeply thinking. I think it's not actually the writing down, or it can be the writing down, but it's the feelings that you try and evoke from writing it down. And like I say, I fell off with it time and time and time again. I even spoke to my partner about it, and she was like, yeah, it's not for me. I actually think it's for everyone. I think it's like meditation, or it's like lifting weights. It's like anything. It's putting the reps in.
Yeah.
More reps. I think if you just do it that first few times and get put off, like, yeah, it will feel that way. I think you got to find a nice little routine, nice little way for you to look forward to it. As I say, to bring it back to bodybuilding, like, you go into your cardio sessions thinking, I can't, it's going to be hard.
Self-fulfilling
prophecy. It's going to be hard. It's going to be shit, and you're gonna manifest a whole crap time. So of course, if you manifest that you're faking your gratitude or whatever, it's not going to be good. So I think if anyone is on the fence about doing it, like, firstly give it a go, but also, like, persevere with it.
Yeah.
Try and just fully take it for what it is, and sit there and like feel that emotion.
Yeah. I guess if anything, there's not too many skills, endeavors, activities that you do, and number 1, 2, and 3 of those feel amazing.
Yeah.
Not very many, because you go like, I need to figure this out, right? Whether it's a fucking puzzle, whether it's playing golf, whether it's learning how to journal, like all of those things. And that's the hard part. It's that barrier that probably knocks people off quite easy, because they go from something that they're very, very good at and they're used to, and they have all these things in their life that they do they're very good at, because you obviously lean into them and you do the things that make you feel good. You start going, that doesn't feel as good. I might just stop that, right? I'm someone who's done that before as well. What about you just talk me through it. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you actively do? Is there like an in order thing that you do? Because
that's a good question. I think I get this question from a lot of actually clients, because I do speak about it quite openly quite a lot. I write about it in my emails quite a lot, and I think people struggle with, like, where do I even start? So I think the best place to start is obviously I write the date. Sometimes if something's going on that day, or I'm in a certain place, or I'm got a certain urge to write something, I'll say, like, where I am or what I'm doing. And then the first question I ask myself is, like, how I feel. And something's been really cool for me, actually, and that's where you start to spot trends, because you can feel when you're not feeling good that every day, man, it's the same thing. Not so good today. A bit anxious today, or a bit apprehensive, or a bit overwhelmed with the amount of work I've got to do. This week, it's been like, I feel good. and you might write that for 6 days in a row, and that's nice. And it's not just I feel good, you know. I go on to elaborate on that a little bit, but I feel good. I feel motivated or excited or ready is often a word that comes to mind, and that's nice for me because I've done that every day probably since I've been here. I don't think there's been a day where I've been like, I feel like shit today. And that's for me, like, that's a nice trend for me to spot with being here. I'm like, oh shit, I feel good to be here. Nice. And even, you know, I've still got all the same stresses going on, but my general feeling is good. So how I feel is always question one. That's just a nice little check-in with yourself. Then you go into the gratitudes. So I do 5. I used to do 3 and I now do 5. And I think just as we've done that exercise there, like, if we'd have just stopped at 1 and you'd have just said you're grateful for your coffee, I can imagine there was no deeper feeling there. So I'd say it's like a bit of a warm up, a bit of a chance to speak some things and feel about certain things. So I do 5. Some of them, like some mornings I am just fucking grateful for my coffee, man, and I'll write that in. But I try and think a bit more deeply about it. And I don't just write the first thing that comes to mind. And sometimes something will come to mind and I try and think a bit, is there something better than that? Is there something I'm really, truly grateful for? So I do 5 of those. And then after that kind of at that point is a bit of a free for all there, which I'll come back to. And then at the bottom I just put tasks like for the day. That's the things that I've got to do that day. Recently, what I've been doing on that kind of third section, and this, like I say, a journal is you do what you want to do, what you connect with, what you resonate with. But particularly since Pro Camp, I've been doing like, who's the person that you want to be today, and like how would they act? Or who's the person that you want to be in the future, and how would they act today? Like, that's a nice way to remind yourself, like, stay on track. So I might write some of my big goals down. And there's like studies that have said if you write your goals down every single day in front of you, they're more likely to happen. And not through some manifestation magic, but because you're fucking reminded of what you want to do every single day. Yeah. And therefore, if you then write, okay, what's the one thing that I can do today towards that goal? Imagine if every single day you did one thing towards that big goal. Like, you're damn sure you're going to get closer to it. You know, I've spoken loads about clothing and I'm still getting asked about clothing. If I put that down every day, like, I want to launch my clothing brand this year, what's the one thing I can chase up today? Or the one bit of research that I can do today? I'm going to get that little bit closer. So while it feels so far away, like I say, if I do one little thing on that day, then that's going to get me a bit closer. So you can write down your big goals. You can write who you want to be in the future. You can write who you want to be today. How do you want to show up today? There's loads of things you can do. And I'd say that section is the free-for-all bit. Some people will ask, what are the things I'm grateful for that I can't immediately see? I think that's quite a nice one. That's one when maybe I'm driving or I'm in the shower. The things that we forget. Yeah. You know, the fact that I travelled here safely. Like, I could have died. You know what I mean? Like, I might not be here. I might crash my car. You know, all stuff like that. So the things that we don't see. So that's my kind of journaling practice for the day.
I think there's a lot of things that even while I sat there, I'm thinking about as well. I think often people go through life and they'll have a moment where they go, I'm not being who I want to be, or I should have done this. You know what? And it's usually whatever a life period, end of the week, end of the month. You go through X amount of time, and then you kind of reflect over it. And you think, I didn't do it. Well, when you're looking at that every day, you got no reason to forget it. You got no reason to just wake up, do your work, go to the gym, come back, go to sleep, wake up and repeat. And you have that thing in the middle that reminds you of it. So, yeah, man, I had so many times when I'm like, I knew I should have been doing this week. Or I could have known that if I read it the first thing in the morning, every day. You know, rather than just go, realize it at the end of the week. So,
yeah.
Oh, could you just buy a journal on Amazon right now?
Just get a notepad as well. Because I think a lot of people, they buy those like pre-made ones. And I really didn't enjoy. Like, I got bought one at one time. I bought myself like a 5-minute journal. It's like, oh, cool, 5 minutes. But I think for me it is about asking, what questions do you want to answer? Not what questions this book want to ask you.
Yeah, that's important. Because then you just get forced into a box you might not want to be in.
Yeah, exactly. And what if you've got something that you're really grateful for that doesn't fall into one of those, or an action you really want to do that, like, that's, I think, is important. But you're absolutely right. Like, if if men want to look at it as, you know, this weird wishy-washy way of manifesting goals or whatever, like, that's cool, but there's also a really practical element to it. And as I say, there's lots of research that's been done into reminding ourselves of our goals and how we show up as that person. So I think there's a lot of function to it.
Yeah.
Accountability as well
Yeah.
for yourself.
I think the self-fulfilling prophecy of reading something and doing something every single day and writing the goals down and believing them, and I think that's a thing that a lot of great achievers do, but maybe not through a journal. Just maybe they just have that type of mindset that they wake up, it's the first thing they think of, right? It's almost like a mental journal. I remember reading like Cristiano Ronaldo's book, and he was like, I said it to myself every morning, like, I'm going to be the best player in the world. So what is the best player in the world? He gets up, he does this, da, 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 da. You know, and I think you'll probably find a lot of similarity if you read any of those autobiographies of greats in business, in sports, whatever it is. I think a lot of them have this unwavering belief in themselves, and that's almost like a mental journal, right? That's like a way to visualize and conceptualize the goals that you want to achieve and reminding yourself of them every day. I think if you don't remember those goals, like, it's so easy just to forget those goals, like, and not do the things necessary to get to those goals.
Yeah, that's that as well. Like that's a learned behavior. That's a trained behavior as well. Like, you know, some people will be born with that. In the same way, some people will be born with great genetics for bodybuilding. Some people will just be born with a mindset. It's like, I believe in myself, and I'm going to get it. Like if you look back at the old videos of McGregor, it's like one of the best examples. Even I think like Michael Jordan. The list goes on. There's lots of these people that were just so confident in their own ability and what they were going to do. And for sure, man, for every one of those, probably 100,000 deluded idiots that didn't make it, but. Not going to hurt to believe in yourself. I think that's the big thing. It's not going to hurt to manifest things. None of us are, you know, saying, "Oh, we're sitting here just dreaming of it." Of course, that's a total waste of time. But I think that's going to be a learned behavior as well. And if you need to put some reps in with a journal or something that reminds you to think that way, then that's going to put you closer to that person as well.
Yeah, no, that's really important to know. And I guess while we're on the topic of like, and this is not advice, we're not like therapists or anything like that, we're not qualified, but like for me, some of the most important things that I've done for like mental fortitude, building that muscle, it's almost like a muscle, isn't it? Like being mentally strong is like a muscle. Like you got to practice it, and if you're not practicing it, then you're not armed when the negative wave comes and you just like crumble. And I've been in that place where I've crumbled. And I knew at a period of time that I needed to do some sort of mental exercise to make it a fair battle type of thing, right? And one of the most important things that I've done and have been doing for, over 2 years now is therapy lessons. I get a lesson. I call it a lesson because I learn stuff about myself every week. I do this every single week on a Tuesday. It's in varying times depending on the time zone I'm in, but and I've been with 3 different therapists, so it's also important to know that not everyone works for you, but it was kind of like, it took a while, again, like the journal, it took a while to really understand the benefits and the lessons to be learned within those lessons, because I was very apprehensive as to, I was like, you know what, like, and I'm sure so many people listening are like, I don't need that, I'm fine, mate. It's not about being fine, it's about being better. Yeah. You know, you might feel good, everything's good, but you can be better. And unarming yourself with, if you're going to sit here and tell me that you've never had a self-doubt thought, an issue where you go, oh shit, you know, had a bit of anxiety in those issues, like those are the times. Not that they're like life-defining moments, but when you get them, you know how to act and you know how to like process and you know how to get through. And it did take a long time for me to really understand that, and actually like having those Tuesday afternoon lessons for the hour, the work is like beyond that. The work is around that. It's kind of like, right, what have you learned from today? Are you going to take that into the following week rather than showing up, doing your hour and leaving like we probably did at school? You did that science lesson. I think, what did I learn then? Nothing. Like you got to do the work outside of it to get better at it. But like 2.5 years in now, offering myself almost like a think tank, a soundboard, a place to like just unravel a thought rather than unraveling it in my own head and batting it back and forth with myself. You have someone who is an expert in talking to people, an expert in dealing with any type of mental health issue, and also someone who's done it with hundreds, if not thousands of different people. So they've been through so many different lines of thought that they really have an amazing scope to help you understand what you're thinking and help you understand what you're saying. And that's one of the things that for me has been like extremely helpful. And I feel like actually this last 6 months of when I feel like I've got out of my metaphorical mental health hole of last year, that's been like pivotal in coming into those sessions and just like unraveling things. And now when I've been faced with the same issues that I was done 8 months ago, I'm strong. I'm ready. I'm armed with like the right thing to do. And that's one of the things, and a lot of people frown upon it. A lot of people have the bravado around it. Like, just don't. You just don't. Like, it's absolutely fine. These people are experts in thinking that way. So that's, I guess, it's not the same as journaling. It's not every day, but it's one of the things that I've done to protect my own mental health. And that's one thing that took a while, but I really do see the benefits. I really do see the my armory is not empty. Like, I have a few tools to get around things. Not everything. Some things are still very difficult, and they always will be. And I'm sure there'll be a new weapon that comes out every now and again, like it always happens. But then you just get through that as well. So that's one of the things that I've been doing.
Has that been literally like 9 out of 10 consistency for the last 2.5 years?
Yeah.
That's
every single week.
I think that's sick.
Every single week.
And you've had different people.
Yeah, I've had different people, different techniques. And there are different styles, which kind of fit your way of thinking a bit. Like the first person I stayed with for like 6 months because I just thought it was a thing to stick with, and I thought it was me that was a problem. And actually, I just didn't really get on with the method. There was a lot of because I was naturally like super skeptic. I was like, this is lame. Like this is cringe, right? So I'd say like what I thought was a profound sentence, and she would just go, right, how does that make you feel? I'm like, that's such a fucking typical question.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, right, okay, this is how it makes me feel. She goes, right. And then she would give me these prolonged silences because some people think in the silences I'm like trying to unravel all that. And I'm not. I'm just sat there thinking, this is so awkward. Like, honestly, like 2.5 minutes of silence. And I'm looking at the clock. And I'm going, fuck, it's been 2 minutes now.
Is this in person or Zoom?
No, it was on Zoom. So it was even worse, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse.
I mean, if it was in person, I don't know how I feel, but no, I just remember going, all I'm thinking about is how long the silence is, not like what she thinks I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
And I just endured it, and I thought, you know what, this just really isn't for me. And I told her that. And the hardest thing for me, one of the biggest issues that I have is like hard conversations, confrontation, things that might offend people, things that make me feel like I look bad. Like those are some of the real tough things that I face. So even ending like a professional relationship is like anxiety inducing. I remember just going through that, like I was sweating. I was like, I just don't think this is me. And she goes, I actually text her, which was even worse. I probably should have faced her. And she goes, just come on one more call and tell me why. And I was like, But actually, like, that was probably the best thing that she did.
Yeah.
Was actually like, I was like, you know what, I've got to. So I got on that call. It was one of the best things that she did, to be fair. Like, and that kind of made me realize it's not so bad having those conversations. I remember telling her, she goes, "It's fine. We're one of those people that don't gel." So I moved on to the next one.
Was that quickly, like straight back in, or?
Yeah, I was straight. I wouldn't have been straight back in because I thought, "Fuck, is this what everyone's like?"
Yeah.
But actually, thank God she did that, because if I just left it there, I would have been like, "Nah, it's the same for me. It's the same for me. Everyone's like that, you know." But she said, "This is just the method doesn't align." You know, you think
what was that? Was it? Do you remember the name?
I can't remember the name. At that point, I was just typing in therapists and then just picking one, rather than like you can type in on. Wow, I should really know this. Did you know this? What's that place called? BetterHelp.
I know that.
BetterHelp. So you can type in there, but you can actually type in symptoms, quote unquote, right? Anxiety, depression, existential problems, things like that. And thank God I got back on that call, because she said, "Look, we don't gel. I think you might benefit from this type of therapy." And I was like, "Oh, this type of therapy? Okay, cool." And that was like 6 months I was doing that. So don't be afraid. Like, definitely give it a few weeks, of course. Give it a few sessions. Went to a new person. I could tell straight away that wasn't my vibe either. And then...
Why was that? And how does that make you feel? No, why was that?
That one was more just like, it was like a lot of homework. Lot of homework. It was like, I want you to go and do this, this, and this, and this all day. And I wasn't really in that place to go and do those things. I need you to think about why you're feeling things in the moment. And I was like, I wasn't far enough along the line to have those conversations. There's a book, I can't remember what it's called. I think Louis told me about this actually. It was like, and this is what I kind of do now, but it was like when you're having a conversation with someone, try and be the person up here, the watcher, and you're watching the conversation, and there's like, is how you're reacting. Like, if you were watching the TV program, would you be like, what's he saying? Like, why would he talk like that for? And try and think like that. And that's kind of how how he actually at that time was trying to make me think. And I wasn't equipped with it. I was like I just wasn't equipped with it, basically. I didn't have enough lessons under my belt. And so I gave it a little bit of a break, went to Bournemouth, and I actually started talking to Louis' partner, Beth, and she is a therapist. And then she started, in fact, Louis introduced a conversation to me, as Louis Blackmore, that there's different types of therapy, and like, this is the types that I think you might need. And I'm like, oh, cool, let me speak to Beth. And she kind of talked about this like existential therapist, which is kind of like the here and the now. Like, actually, that's another thing. The previous one was very like, so talk me through your childhood, like trying to make all these connections. And for me, like, yeah, it's all good, but I'm kind of here now anyway. So what do I need to do? So it was much more like the here and the now. Like, let's deal with the here and the now. Like, what's happened has happened. If you're here for a reason, okay, we understand that. But like, how can we solve that? And that's when I started doing it in person. And that's kind of when things changed. And, this is Philip. Shout out Philip, big Phil.
Man like Phil.
Yeah.
Man like Phil, existential Phil.
Yeah, existential Phil. And really profound guy. I've been with him. I'm still with him now. We now just do Zoom calls, but seeing in person was what do I do? Is he watching my hands? Is he like, am I gonna like do this? Should I take a drink? I'm like going like this and going like this. But once you get comfortable and you can really lower the barrier, he's the guy who really helped me kind of unravel things like in the here and the now. And that was the style that I needed. That was like, right, I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, I had like my parents divorced when I was younger. That's why I have like separation things. Like, cool, but like, how do I fucking fix it right now? Like, I know that. Like, how do I get on with it? And that's kind of, it was his approach, was kind of actionable points to fix the here and the now. And that was kind of what helped me quite a lot. So, coincidentally found him in the hardest year of my life. So I had a lot of like, he knows everything about everything. And he would just help me unravel the thoughts and think about why I react certain ways, how to deal with certain things. And that was kind of it. So third time's a charm. But it was after a year of doing therapy already that I really found the person for me.
That's sick. I rate that. It was actually on my 2020. It's a goal that I've failed. I think I put it on my 2023 list and I didn't do it. And then I put it on my 2024 list and I haven't done it yet. So I'm a month in, I need to crack on. But I think I've had similar experiences. So I absolutely believe there is 100% so much value in it. I have just no issues with talking about how I feel ever. I am probably the most expressive person that I know. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm cool with sharing how I'm feeling, how I'm doing, whatever. To my detriment or to my strength. So I'm very keen to get stuck into therapy again. I have a slight reservation because I think I did it initially on Zoom. I was actually really, really keen to do it in person. So I did it initially on Zoom. I then went to visit another one. And this was a guy, I think, and I was a bit uncomfortable. This is when I was kind of struggling with a lot of stuff. A lot of it was actually like relationship based stuff, but not the relationship. It was me and how I felt about everything. And that one I was like, nah, this isn't it. Then I went to see a woman in London, like Bank in central London, and that was like an in-person one. I was like, okay, cool, this is good. So I did one and I did another with her, and then I just felt like there was no challenge there. I wanted someone to hold me account, like, and tell me that I'm being a dick or that I'm feeling. I know they can't do that, but like, I wanted someone who's going to meet me head on, and help me change the way I'm thinking or whatever. And I just felt like I was going in for an hour every week and just like, not really. I felt like she was helping me justify how I felt, and I was like, this is not what I need. So I brought that to an end. I was like, maybe we could do this every other week so I can just sort of offload. And then she's like, no, it's kind of weekly or nothing. And I was like, all right, cool, let's call it a day. And then as time's gone on, I think there's I think just like getting stuff off my chest is cool, but I do want I want them to help me find my answers to it or whatever, and not just say,
Sure.
so how do you feel like that? But then, but maybe that's okay. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
maybe that is, but they're the conversations I have with myself anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
I probably will speak to Louis again about it actually, because I think, look, if it has to be on Zoom, it has to be on Zoom. I kind of wanted it to be in person. I think you get to connect with someone. The Zoom calls, I think, can actually just end up feeling quite uncomfortable sometimes. But obviously, you've now built a relationship with this guy.
Yeah, that's what helps.
That's the difference, isn't it? So, yeah, definitely something to look into. What do you think? What has this most recent guy then like helped you with most? Like, if you can think of one thing that's on top of your head that's like, wow, that's really changed for me.
I think he really highlighted the main issue that I had in, like, he managed to find the common denominator in pretty much like everything. And like I said about the fear of those conversations with people, it's fear of those hard conversations. It's like passivity, right? I'm very passive.
Okay.
I'm very like, I'm just gonna let this unfold until it stops, even though I want it to stop.
Yeah, okay.
And that's kind of that ended up being the common denominator all year, right? Issues with my business. I'm doing everything. Like, it's gonna happen one day. No, it's fucking not. Like, you got to go do something different. Yeah, because if you're doing everything and nothing's working, there's more to do.
Or different things to do.
Yeah, all different things.
Or conversations to have.
Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily this relationship, but within my relationships, within my relationship, and if I think about all my previous relationships, when I've been in a place where I haven't been happy, I just wait.
Just let it.
I just wait until something happens, and guess what happens? You manifest toxic thoughts. You manifest a toxic relationship. You get into a position where you're not happy. Resentment happens. You make them unhappy. And you just have this big like back and forth. Like, so just being passive, which I kind of didn't. I've always said like I've always let life happen, but honestly, I always fell on my feet until I moved. The first year in London, when I first moved there, until then, so what, like 27, I felt like I've always fallen on my feet, right? Nothing really bad has happened to me, really. Okay, my parents divorced, like, and a few other like minor things, but nothing really bad has happened to me. Touch wood. I'm touching wood right now. So it kind of just got to the point where it kind of fills you with an air of confidence. Like, it's going to be fine, like always is. Yeah, and sometimes it just isn't. And I had that for so long last year where I would just be like, it'll be all right. But the it'll be all right was completely overshadowed with, but it's really not right now. Like, it's really not right now. And that would really affect my day. It would affect my day, but not enough for me to do anything different. And there'll just be a lot of conversations around it, and actually just exploring the idea of passive. Like, you know what, you can't just go, you know what, you're a bit passive, Josh. You need to try to be less passive. Like, that's like, cool, I fucking know that. But I can't. I'm crippled by it. Paralysis by analysis. Like, that's kind of where I was for a lot of the year. But you know what? Having a repeated conversation, like we said about the journal, you go, oh, I'm actually being passive here. Let me just try not, right? And it started with something small. It started with having a hard conversation, right? We built the business, One Amar, in April. When we go to Canada, we went to Canada in May, I think. In April, January, February was a great month. March was a great month. Right, cool. I need to expand, right? I hired 2 people, yeah, which obviously cost $4 or $5 grand a month. So you're taking $4 or $5 grand out of your budget, and then the business just halved, like almost overnight, because of going to Canada, exposure, I'm sure a multitude of other reasons. And I knew that like I couldn't keep these people on. And I'm like, oh my God, like I've got to quote unquote sack these people. So those were 2 really hard conversations. I put them off for ages. I put them off for like 2 months. Well, that's 10 grand like of like going into debt. And you know what? He like pressed. He said, "You need this conversation. This is not like the world, something giving you the opportunity, but this is your opportunity. This is your time to try and exercise it." And I remember having that conversation with one of them, and it was fine. And I was like, just like the relief. But but also the confidence that it built to know that actually that conversation made me a bit stronger than last time. And it's much like a really fucking hard cardio session. You get through it, you feel better. And actually, it was like the catalyst of the year, and that was like June. So it was only halfway through last year that I started to lean into those things and go, right, this is another opportunity. So rather than go, oh my God, I hate this. It was, oof, here we go. I got another chance right now. I got another chance to lean into this. So yeah, having a few of those hard questions and him just helping me go like, this is your opportunity. This is you being passive right now, and making me aware in the moment. This is what you're doing. This is the issue. This is right now. We're living it. Like, you have to go do it right now. And actually, like, you know what? Like, for a few weeks of having this, you know, we've had the same conversation for a few weeks now. What's happening? What's going to change? And I was like, all right, there it is.
Yeah.
You know, and I honestly, because of the time difference, it was in the morning. I got off the call and I was like, right, I need this call right now. Are you free? Boom, I did it like that. I was like, the penny kind of dropped, and I realized that this was my moment. So that's probably the biggest thing. Many, many other things that you can go through, of course, but like that was the biggest thing. And that was kind of like the turning point of my businesses, and turning point of me getting back to myself, feeling myself, was just, right, stop being passive, do something different.
That's unreal. I think the thing that resonates with me is that you had someone to hold you account. I think that's what I'm looking for from someone, is that when I tell them there's a problem, I don't want to say, yeah, maybe it's, you know, maybe it's not a problem, or maybe you need to think differently about it. Like, yeah, in some scenarios, but like, I know one of my biggest issues is like, I think number one, get in my way a lot. Like, I feel like I'm in my own way with I have an idea and I want to do something, but I would skirt around the issue or think about doing it rather than doing it. That's something I do a lot. And then another one would be, I think it's kind of similar to what you said there. I find myself, you know, we have like personal conversations and then we have business conversations or financial conversations. So often I think I shy away from having a tougher conversation. If it's about money, for example, I will objectively put myself in a worse financial position when I don't need to, because I don't want to have an uncomfortable conversation with someone about it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I get very like, ugh.
Like what, you need to pay tax?
Go inside like, huh?
What, like you need to pay the tax man?
No. More like, I can just say it. We can no holds barred. Obviously, recently I've made the decision that Luke needs to go on and leave Team Brightman and go on and do his own thing. What I mean is, I've been objectively far too good to him, you know, and I've set him up. He's obviously done the work. Don't mean I'm not going to take that away from him, but I've given that kid a step up in this industry, and now he has a client base. He can afford, you know, his rent, his nice car, everything. He's comfortable. He's cushy, right? But we had the Brightman 12 challenge, yeah. So we intook 65 people on that this year. Decent stuff. He was dealing with 40 clients and I was dealing with 20, and I was like, I'm going to take some back off you. You know, you'll keep some of them, and then you can try and convert them to full-time clients, and then you'll be comfortable going forwards on top of your already full-time paying clients that have come through by and large, you know, Team Brightman marketing. And I was like, yeah, I'll just take 10. So I just took half. So I've just given
to try and not make it awkward.
To not be awkward, yeah. When I should have just said the number that I wanted. I think that's what I do a lot. I shy away from saying, I want this. Yeah. I want this number.
You'll put yourself at a detriment so they can.
Yeah, I put myself at a detriment to avoid that uncomfort. You know, when there's maybe like a bit of maybe when there's a bit of ambiguity about price or about it's negotiation. Really, is what it is. I will like put myself back or and I think that's bad. That's not. I struggle to separate myself from like the business self. Like there's business conversations and then there are the personal ones. For example, like if I had a company approach me for whatever to do a deal, I would be the worst possible person to negotiate. I bet you would as well. I would be the worst possible person. So with VQ, for example, I was like, I'm not having that conversation. So I got someone else to have it for me. Lo and behold, much better option, much better deal than I got. And I think a lot of the time, I think all this comes back to is this like self-doubt, slightly lower self-esteem, a lack of sort of knowing my worth quite often.
That's what I was going to say.
One Fit is another great example. Like undoubtedly helped them a lot in the first like year of their business, but I'm still like, yeah, I don't think I'm that valuable. And they remind me all the time. They say, they like, Joe, you've got a lot of influence in this game. And I think I forget that. I forget it, or I don't want to lean into it or whatever. And I think it puts me in a worse position because of that, because I don't believe in myself as much as I should, or just as much as I need to in order to get to where I want to get to. So yeah, I think self-belief, imposter syndrome, if you like, is a big part of it. But it's yeah, I will quite often like opt to save face rather than save money or make the right business decision.
For sure.
So yeah, it can be quite difficult, I think, sometimes. The thing is, I have those conversations. I realise I've not performed as I should have done if I want to with my business head on, and then I feel shit about it. So that's a cycle I need to break for sure.
Yeah, no, that's good. When you come up against someone who's not like that, you lose.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because mate, everyone's not like that. Yeah. Everyone would.
Imagine you tell me, I want all of them, mate.
Yeah,
you'd have been like, maybe they would have got your back up, and you'd be like, no, I can fight this fight. But
yeah. But like, I think I just need to get comfortable with just saying what I want. What's the worst that happens? Someone says no.
That's the thing.
You know what I mean? Someone says no, okay, and then we negotiate, and then we both get a deal we're happy with. But I'm very bad at starting, really starting with what I want.
For sure. For sure. I think that's the importance of, like what you said, having someone to help you through it, and if you genuinely can't learn it, all right, you have that person permanently. But if you want to learn that skill, you got to learn off them. I think Amy, my partner, she's so good at that. Like that's who I like soundboard. I'm like, what do you think I should start? She goes, well, this. Oh, you really think? Oh, anxiety. I'm like, she goes, what's the worst? So they say no. Yeah, but what if they think I'm an idiot for it? What if they think I'm this asshole? All this what
if they think?
And they're like, so what, you're not going to talk to them again? I'm like, oh yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's so good. Definitely work he's doing on that. That was, I think that's probably about 50 minutes. How long is that? 42, okay. Anything else you want to cover on that?
No.
Gone into a lot there.
Yeah, proper waffle.
Yeah, absolutely waffle. That was really good though. Oh. Cool. Okay. So we went over gratitude and journaling, went over your sort of therapy experience. I think that was quite a positive episode though.
No, I agree. Things that we arm ourselves with to get, things we're doing to get better.
Yeah.
Things we're doing to get better. And I think if you're not doing something to get you better, and doing your job doesn't count because it's what you got to do. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, you're getting better, you're earning more money, you're building your career. Like, is it getting you better? Mm-hmm. Is it getting you better? I think that's important to take from it.
Yeah. There's actually there's something that I thought at the start of this. Like, if there's something that people would take from this, it needs to be like the actual action that you need to take.
That's it. That's the action.
What is the action that you need to take? You might even decide that it's not journaling, or it's not therapy, or maybe it is, or maybe it's one or both. But like, stop putting off that action and find ways that can help you actually trigger it a bit more and get it done. And I think so many people will, especially with the goals thing, like I thought that myself this year. Like, if I sit down and just write my goals down at the start of the year and then don't look at them until next year, like, what's the likelihood of them happening?
Yeah.
If you want to get in shape, then start doing something about it. Start doing something proper about it. If you want to change your relationship, change your job, change your circumstances, move to a different country, start working out what it is you need to do to fucking get on with it, rather than just thinking about it and dreaming about it and writing it down once a year and then coming back to it, because life's too short, man.
Yeah.
It'll get away from you real quick.
Yeah, for sure. Thoughts become things, but not unless you don't do them.
Exactly. All right, lovely. We hope you enjoyed that episode.
Yeah.
We'll be back very soon, maybe even in the same clothes.
Yeah, probably in the same place.
And like, comment, subscribe, whatever you got to do. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace, everybody.
I'm going to piss my pants.